GATS are General Agreement on Trade in Services. Now keep this in mind. The predecessor WTO, GATT, didn't have services under its agreement. Now GATT, so it is for the first time services were included under WTO. Now, so unlike goods, that is agricultural and non-agricultural goods. Now keep this in mind. When in WTO, when you hear the word non-agricultural, it means industrial goods. If you hear the word agriculture and non-agricultural goods means industrial goods. And if you hear MA means market access. Non-agricultural market access means market access for industrial goods. NAMA. So this term, again they have asked question on what is NAMA. NAMA is non-agricultural market access. It is market access for industrial goods. Market access always deals with reduction in import duty. Market access, whenever you hear the word market access, what this, for any particular commodity to access the market, what has to be done? You have to reduce import duty. You have to reduce import duty. Now regarding this trade in services, it is regarding this agreement, it is as not completely implemented by member countries, unlike goods, whether it is agricultural goods or whether it is industrial goods. Now try to understand that GATT already, in GATT there were already trade in goods, both industrial goods and agricultural goods. But since services was not there under GATT, a lot of time and lot of flexibility were given by member countries to implement GATS, that is trade in services. Because of the flexibility given by WTO to the member countries, many of the countries have not fully implemented GATS agreement. Now when we look into our India's case in relation to GATS, you might have known that now we are a service economy. Yes or no? We are a service economy. In India's case, what is happening is that what we require is more trade in services. Now in many of our recent trade negotiations, whether it is in WTO or it in regional trade agreements or preferential trade agreements, India is pushing to bring services on board like goods. If you might have seen that in the regional comprehensive economic partnership agreement, where it's a trade agreement between India and its trading partners, when those countries want India to reduce import duty or tariff in relation to industrial and agricultural goods, they are not opening up services. Now India's demand is that we are ready to open up goods in trade in goods, but similarly you open us trade in services. So be very clear. So as of now, there have not been any major progress in relation to trade and services. There are a lot of hurdles used by many of the countries, including the developed country, and we are not able to benefit in relation to services by joining WTO. So we are not benefited in relation to services after joining WTO. So reason is that till now many of the countries have not been properly implemented GATS in spirit. Now regarding GATS, GATS have divided services into different categories. GATS, under GATS, the types of services have been classified, or it's there are basically 4 types or 4 modes of services is been dealt under GATS, and that is very important for your prelims or for your mains also. We can classify different types of services under GATS as mode 1, mode 2, mode 3 and mode 4. It is important. It's there in the material and it is coming in the newspaper regularly. Now mode 1 services deals with any services which results in cross-border supply. Now keep this in it. See, mode 1, mode 2, mode 3, mode 4 all are in relation to trade in services, with in relation to services only. So when we talk about cross-border supply services are those services in which we provide supply. See, so for example, this business process outsourcing. It's seen BPOs. It's seen so many call centers giving services to US customers. This is under, which will come under which category of services? It is under mode 1, cross border. We are supplying services cross border, outside the border. So it is an area in which India is looking into, because mode 1 will favor Indian government, because there are lot of services which we are providing under cross border supply. Now under mode 2, it is consumption abroad. Again, you are consuming some services abroad. Take the case of education. You are going to UK or US and studying. That service, you are consuming services abroad. Similarly, tourist, it is consumption abroad. Tourism, consumption abroad. So those services. So again, consumption abroad, it is basically interested by developing or developed countries. It is more interest for developed countries, but mode 1, it is, look into from India's perspective only. So from India's perspective, do you think that students will come to India and study, foreigners will come to India and study in Indian universities? No, but vice versa will happen. So we are not interested. Okay, so be very clear with that. Okay, mode 1, cross border supply. Mode 2, consumption abroad. Now mode 3, commercial presence. Commercial presence, in the sense that a foreign investor coming to India and having a presence over India and providing goods or services. FDI is example of commercial presence, establishment of, will be having a presence in a domestic territory. Again, mode 3 is again interest for whom? It is for developed country. Mode 3 is major interest for India is not interested to go and set up in UK. So we had seen Tata is already its hand up in. So, but multinational companies coming to India and they want a commercial presence in India. So mode 3 is again an interested area for developed countries. And the fourth one, mode 4. Mode 4 deals with movement of natural persons. Where a person move from India and to go outside the country and provide services. You might have seen that IT software engineers going to foreign country providing services. It's movement of natural services. Doctors going out providing services. Nurses going out and providing services, like that. Now, so mode 4, movement of natural persons, where India is a service economy, where we have, because of demographic dividend, we have lot of people from IT and other related service sector which go and abroad and provide services, which will result in lot of service exports. So mode 4 is a major interest for India. But now tell, not only Trump, before Trump also, Trump already very clear with H1B visa that he is following a protectionist policy. Now Trump is following made in America. Our America first policy Trump is following. So Indian, now I hear that now everybody, especially from the already engineering is going down. Now because of Trump, now there will be, at least in the next 4 or 5 years, there will be no employment in IT sector, because the major market for Indian software industry is US. US is going to close down all the IT sectors. I'm joking, just in a different way. But what I'm trying to say is, Trump H1B visa is the protection policy is against mode 4. Now, if we might have had a similar impact like what we have discussed in relation to agreement on agriculture or agreement on industrial goods, same thing is have not happened in relation to GATS. If that might have happened, India could have gone to WTO easily and might have implemented it properly. Now that's the reason why GATS have not evolved like other multilateral trade agreement. So still negotiation going on, but India is very clear, at least not in WTO, in other regional trade agreements India is now negotiating. India is saying that we will open our goods service trade in goods, or we will allow investment provided you give us space in service sector, especially two mode where India is more interested. India's most interest lie in mode 4, followed by mode 1. Mode 4 and mode 1 are India's interest in relation to trade in services. So whenever a mains answer is being addressed, you have to mention about mode 4 and mode 1. You have to explain it, and you have to explain what is mode 1, what is mode 4, how mode 1 and mode 4 help India's economy, India's service economy, when you answer mains. And they can ask you what is mode 1, mode 2, mode 3. They will, if it is a prelims question, what they will do? They will change the choices and confuse you. So be very clear. At least don't, if you know mode 4 clearly, that will be sufficient to answer that question. Mode 4 is our services, that is in relation to movement of natural persons. So this is regarding GATS, and again regarding GATS in the coming WTO ministerial conferences, the India have taken several initiatives to include trade, to promote trade in services, and to take care of India's interest also. Lot of news will come in relation to trade in services.